Hello there my beloved Batties, and welcome to another episode of Truth Behind the Tale, the series where I take a look at some of our most famous fairy tales and delve into their real world historical and cultural origins. And today we're going to be taking a look at The Princess and the Pea. The Princess and the Pea was written by Hans Christian Andersen, who included it in a booklet which was published in Copenhagen in 1835. Interestingly, 8 years later, the Brothers Grimm included a variant of the same story in their 1843 collection of fairy tales, called The Pea Test, but they later removed it because of the obvious similarity to Andersen's tale. This was no case of plagiarism, however, as the Grimms primarily recorded folk tales rather than invented them, whereas Andersen was known to create his own stories, whether from his own imagination or based on previous tales that he had been exposed to. The Princess and the Pea falls into the latter category, as Andersen himself claimed that he had heard the story as a child. However, the story of a princess being tested for royal blood by means of sensitivity has never been a traditional one in his native Denmark. The version he heard in his childhood may have actually been from Sweden, called Princess Who Lay on 7 Peas. In this story, an orphan girl is convinced by an animal helper, who is usually a cat but is in some cases a dog, that she is a princess, and the cat forewarns her about the pea test. So when she must lie on top of a mattress under which are hidden 7 peas, she claims that she had an awful night's sleep, and this leads to her becoming a real princess. The Swedish version shows an overwhelming similarity to the Andersen one, with the only major differences here being that there are 7 peas rather than 1, and the inclusion of the animal helper. It appears that Andersen personally liked the idea of the princess being truly sensitive rather than passing the test based on her cunning and foreknowledge. There are other variants of the story, however, which have passed through the centuries with similar morals and themes on this idea of sensitivity. In Italy, the story of the most sensitive woman tells of a prince who is looking for the most sensitive woman to be his bride. After dismissing a woman who feels pain from having a hair plucked from her head and another who's uncomfortable sleeping in wrinkled bedsheets, he chooses one who has to have her foot bandaged after a single jasmine petal fell on it. This sensitivity is also found in some Indian tales, including The 3 Delicate Wives of King Virtubana, which features a similar device to the Italian one. One woman is injured after a falling lotus petal falls on her, another is burned by moonbeams, and another is bruised by the sound of petals grinding up grain. Another Indian tale from the 11th century tells of a boy who slept on 7 mattresses but still woke in pain because of a single hair under his back. And yet another story exists, this time from Greece, called The Tale of the Dragon. In this version, a man finds a pea and decides to plant it so he can grow many peas and fill the 12 ships of the king. The king wonders if he may be worthy of his daughter, the princess, but decides to test him first to determine whether he is of rich or poor birth. Rather than just ask the guy, the king decides that he should be given ragged sheets and a servant ordered to watch him in bed to see if he slept, the idea being that if he did sleep, he was used to sleeping in such poor and used rags. However, the man remained awake all night, not because of the poor bedclothes, but because he was worried about losing his precious pea. The following night, the king ordered the test to be repeated, but this time with comfortable sheets on the bed, and convinced that he was not going to lose his pea in this bed, the man slept soundly, proving that he was of noble birth and fit to marry the princess. Despite the similarities between these various tales, it was Andersen's version which popularised their theme, and modern interpretations of it are generally referred back to his version. Commentaries about Andersen's version have suggested that it touches on his own life and background, having lived a difficult childhood and harboured something of a feared and loved view of the upper classes. Various folklorists and academics have noted that he constantly longed to join them and felt a sense of not belonging, often experiencing humiliation in their presence. This led to the suggestion that Andersen himself is the sensitive princess who is able to feel a pea through 20 mattresses, small enough to appear insignificant, but hard enough to inflict pain. This might allow for the princess's sensitivity to be a metaphor for compassion and depth of feeling. While the story itself was poorly received by contemporary critics, it has since been recognised for its sense of optimism overcoming pessimism, relatability, and inspiring hope for inner strength. Thank you very much for joining me for this episode of Truth Behind the Tale. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single episode. The next episode of Truth Behind the Tale will be coming on the last Tuesday of next month. Thank you for watching, have a nice day, and I'll see you all again very soon in another video. Bye!